Good evening. I'm Cole Hartman, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the 1890 Initiative. Earlier this afternoon, the Big Ten Conference announced that Nebraska football's fall game against Illinois has been moved to Friday, October 6th. The match between the Cornhuskers and the Illini was originally scheduled for Saturday the 7th. Tickets for the highly anticipated Volleyball Day in Nebraska event in Memorial Stadium on August 30th are set to go on sale this week. Nebraska volleyball season ticket holders can begin purchasing tickets tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, and tickets for the general public will be available on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central. You can visit huskers.com/tickets to join in on all the fun this fall. Sticking with Husker news, the men's and women's track and field teams continue to climb the national rankings. The men's team currently sits in 10th place and the women's team at 11th in the latest polls. In NFL news, Packers and Jets are finalizing a trade involving the four-time league MVP Aaron Rodgers to New York. In return, the Packers would receive multiple picks in the 2023 and 2024 NFL Draft. The NBA playoffs continue this evening with a pair of games. The Bucks are set to take on the Heat at 6:30 p.m. Miami leads that series 2-1. The Grizzlies match up with the Lakers at 9 p.m. LA is on top of that one, currently 2-1. Our sports ticker is sponsored by the 1890 Initiative. Do you want to support Husker student athletes through name, image, and likeness? If so, visit 1890nebraska.com. Now get ready for a full 2 hours of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Heinrich, long count, turns, gives it off to Gabe Irvin, left side. Gabe stiff arms a man, is in the end zone for a touchdown off the left edge.
Goodness.
That was a gold star stiff arm by 22 to find Pater, and the White extends their lead to 12-0. Sims by himself in the shotgun. Jeff gets the snap, got a quarterback draw, runs to the 5, and gets stood up and breaks a tackle into the end zone for a touchdown. There's the length and strength of Jeff Sims, breaking a tackle to 2. 1-1 here. Drill to left field. That one's out of here. Dylan Carey makes it back-to-back home runs for the Cornhuskers. They lead 2-0.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Kind of a sad day, folks. Spring football is over. Man, now we don't have to see the Husker. Can't watch them in practice for a couple of months, but what a Saturday it was at Memorial Stadium. Hope you had a chance to listen, maybe watch if you're here. Good for you. You were a brave soul because it was chilly at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. Welcome to another week of Sports Highlight here on the Huskers Radio Network. So glad you're with us here tonight. We're going to recap that spring game for you. Love your input. If you want to fire off a call or a text to us, we'd love to get what you thought of Saturday's spring scrimmage, 402-413-2400. All last week, Jessica, I kept telling people when they were going, what are you most excited to see? To me, it was kind of the things that were away from the game, and it was the Solich, which I thought that was fantastic how all that came together, and so happy for Frank that he came back, and the unveiling of Herbie. To me, those were kind of the exciting things that got me fired up. Yeah, I wanted to see our team, but I thought all that stuff was cool.
Did the T-shirt cannon reach you guys in the booth?
No, it didn't quite get that high.
Oh.
But that was cool, too.
Massive. It was massive. But Herbie coming out on the motorcycle, I was joking with Alex Rahuric, who was videoing. I'm like, we got to work on your 40 time, buddy. I mean, he was kind of lagging behind there. But, no, I mean, there was just that's kind of how the spring game is. You can do a lot of things. You know, the fullback play at the beginning,
yep,
and
fullback trap, yeah,
and running it up, running the football over to Coach Solich. I mean, there's a lot of pageantry that you do in a spring game that you can't necessarily do in a regular game, and a little bit more relaxed. But you know, the crowd was awesome, and I know it was interesting to me to see the reactions to the new players, but also the coaches, and to everything that went, and the tunnel walk, and you heard Coach Rule afterwards tell me about it. He's like, you know, I watched it so many times on YouTube, but to actually get to do it, and it was funny because at the beginning you were like, where's Coach Rule? But you might have missed it. He shoved the guy. He's just not a guy that I think is going to be, he probably won't lead the team out. Right. I don't know unless they tell him you have to, but he shoved the O-line, hey, go first, and then he lagged behind and came out afterwards. But then when he walked out afterwards, he's kind of looking around. You could just tell he was kind of taking it all in, and I saw him walking out originally when he first came out, and boy, he's stopping and talking to the guy, some of the kids that are waiting in the tunnel and all of that. And I think it was a neat experience for all those new people that have never gone through it before to get to take it all in.
Yeah, and a lot of people on the sidelines. There were a lot of prospective student athletes that were down there on the sidelines. You had some of the celebrities. You talked to a couple of them, and Eric Crouch and Garrett Nelson that were back. Those folks didn't stick around very long. It was cold. I got out there and probably all headed up to suites.
Yeah, I was walking around trying to line up some interviews. I'm like, there's people not down here. They're smart. They're going up there where it's warm. But, I was able to get a few of them. And there was a lot of recruits down there pregame. And so, yeah, there was a lot going on. And I know just with Coach Solich, you guys had him in the booth. I got a chance to grab him right after he was honored. And I know it meant a lot to him. And not just, being honored. I know Damon said it over and over again. That's not really who he is. But just to get to come back and all the players that came back. And then over and over again, you heard the players talking about how much he meant to them as a football coach. That's ultimately what it's all about, right? And so I think for him to get to spend some time with his former players, and I asked him about the locker room. He's like, how about that? He's like, as a ball coach somewhere where I spent a lot of time and a football player, that's just about the perfect. If he could pick anywhere to be named after him, the locker room, I think, was it.
Yeah, I think that really pleased him. And I think and just kind of sensing him at the end of the whole thing, he's like, I'm glad I did this. I think I could sense that he was glad he came back and conceded to come back, because he had been asked a lot over the last 10 years to come back, and it had been no. But I'm glad he did. Let's flip it to the team. You had to be impressed with what you saw from Jeff Sims. Very efficient. He was 9 of 13 throwing the football, made a couple of nice throws, hit Borkacher on a throw down the field that was impressive early in the game, found Marcus Washington a good little out route to Billy Kemp, who I like Billy Kemp a lot. I think he's going to be a really good player for this. But I think Jeff really acquitted himself pretty well.
Yeah, I think he did too. Billy Kemp as well. He's just so experienced, and he's a guy that I think he's just going to be a player that whoever the quarterback is going to trust throwing him the ball, because he's going to be where he's supposed to be and make the plays that he needs to make. But yeah, and then I think you saw the ability with Sims with his feet, which we've seen in a couple of scrimmages, that it's just such a weapon that when you have a quarterback that can rip off and make explosive plays like that, it's just such a tough thing to try to counter on defense. I think we saw a couple of playmakers on defense really emerge as well.
Sure did. Young players. Really young, true freshmen. We're going to hear from one of them later in the hour, in Cameron Lenhart. I also thought Princewell played very well. Maverick Noonan, I thought, made some good plays.
Ty Wallen.
Sincere, and Ty Wallen, who's the junior college transfer in the program. Those four guys all made some pretty good plays in this game. Bill in Portland on our text line said, well, gang, I guess it's pretty much a given that Jeff Sims or Casey Thompson will be our starting quarterback this fall. No, I think that's fair, Bill. I think you're right. I think it's now game on once Casey's healthy enough to compete on the field, that it will be a battle between those two guys. There had been a lot of buildup about Heinrich Harburg. Maybe Heinrich felt the pressure too much because he really struggled to kind of find his rhythm in the passing game. Now, he ran pretty well a couple times, showing that he's a good athlete. But I think it's fair to say that Jeff and Casey will be 1A, 1B, that type of thing going into the camp in August.
I think it's one spring game scrimmage that we saw that we're judging on, and there's been a big body of work that's taken place that they've seen that, and that is part of it. I mean, I told you guys off the top, I talked to Tony White and I asked him what he was looking for, and he said one of the things he said is, I'm looking for some surprises. Who are some guys that when the lights are on today can make the plays? And we've talked a lot about that. There are some guys that maybe really emerge when the time is right, so you have to make the plays. But I think just this one day for Heinrich Harburg doesn't necessarily dictate everything that they've seen from him in the spring.
Agreed.
They're not going to say one thing or another just based on that, because again, that's also the most the most playing time he's gotten in front of a crowd like that, with as much pressure and all of that. I mean, I don't think they'll base everything off of the spring game on Saturday on any one player. And I don't think anybody's won their job right now. I mean, are there some favorites? Are there some guys that have separated themselves a little bit? Yeah, but I'm really of the camp that I don't think anybody's won a job outright yet for any position, and it's going to be one in the fall.
Oh, I think Matt Rural would totally agree with you. It's like, obviously they've got in their mind a depth chart leaving spring, but it's going to be fluid. It will change from time to time in the August drills. Doug in Norfolk, is Kemp the transfer from New Mexico? I was impressed by his quickness. No, Doug, Kemp is from Virginia. He was the 4th all-time leading receiver at Virginia, transferred to Nebraska. You might be thinking of
Isaiah,
IGC, and he didn't play. Isaiah was out with an injury. He's a New Mexico State transfer that we saw briefly last season, but no, Kemp is from Virginia.
And I think there are a couple things to keep in mind. There were quite a few players on the sidelines that did not play.
Correct.
And so it's just so hard to judge. I think too many people maybe put too much stock on what we saw on Saturday, when it's more so, and that's what Coach Rule said, getting some guys in some situations that they haven't been in before and seeing how they perform and just getting that type of experience. But this team by no means was at full strength. And so it's kind of hard to really put a lot of stock in what we saw. And they were split up a lot. They were moving from side to side. I think they were trying to even out the teams a little bit, because I think you had some guys on, the red team defense and like Chief Borders was on the number 2 defense. And, I think you're going to see some guys be mixed in that weren't playing together. And it's just hard for me to really take away. I think it was more so about putting some guys in some situations and seeing how they handle it, more so than, hey, let's make an overall assumption on what this football team looks like on this one day.
Good points. I do think the defense will be ahead of the offense early in the season. And remember, we didn't have Ty Robinson, didn't have Luke Reimer, didn't have Nick Henrich, and still you add those 3 really quality Big Ten players, I think the defense could be pretty good.
I do too. I think they've got some playmakers, some young playmakers that will get to have some experience, get worked in. And again, this defense is going to look different, and they're going to put players where they need to be to go make plays. And I love what the players have said over and over again about it. Kind of allows them to play free and go make plays and just be playmakers and not think as much. But I also think it'll be tweaked a little bit offense to offense, and how whatever the matchup might be, it might look different every week. So you might see some guys that might be better suited against certain offenses. And so I think it's just a little bit more flexible, where you can see some guys really emerge. But I would like to see maybe in this transfer portal window, maybe Nebraska target a defensive lineman.
I agree.
I do think they need some depth there. I think, yes, it's hard to just completely base off of what we saw, because Ty Robinson wasn't there, and he is absolutely a big key to this defense. But I think they need some depth on the defensive line.
I agree. Another big body up front, and maybe even offensive line too. I think they still might need to add a body. They're low on numbers on the offensive line. Now, as Damon and I talked about on the broadcast, we're getting some more true freshman offensive linemen that will be here in June when the summer session begins, and they love those incoming, like we saw Gunnar Gattulo did pretty well as a true freshman out of Lincoln Southeast, but there's a couple of others that are going to join him this summer, so the numbers are going to go up, but I still think they might need to get one more guy in the portal.
Yeah, I think the numbers are pretty solid at really every position except for the lines.
The lines.
You got a lot of competition going on, and a lot of guys that you feel like you can rely on at almost every position except for the lines. And it's just inevitable. You're going to have injuries there. We were scared when Turner ran off, Turner Corcoran.
And then Hood.
Yeah, and luckily both of those seemed very minor. They both came back and had their helmets on and looked like they were going to be good to go. But, Turner's that's a guy you don't feel comfortable if he gets hurt again, he's just a big part. And so you've got to have some depth at both those spots, because it's going to happen. It's too physical of a league.
The red defense, which was the ones, 12 tackles for loss. Love that. They forced turnovers. They had 2 fumble recoveries. They had a pick, so they forced 3 of the 8 turnovers. The turnovers were an issue, and the ball on the ground was something that, on the negative side's got to get cleaned up. And to me, I think that's been a bit of a trend. We heard Coach Rural say after a few of the scrimmages over the last month that he was not happy with the number of turnovers. So that's a trend. That's got to get clean. We're going to lose football games, folks, if we turn the ball over like that in the fall.
On the flip side, that if your defense forces that many turnovers, then you feel pretty good. But because that's been an area of that the defense has really lacked is maybe causing some key turnovers in some key moments, and winning turnover battles is just such an important part of this game. And so you got to take care of the ball, but you also got to take it away. And so that's what Coach Rule said afterwards. He's like, yeah, you don't like the way that the ball was on the ground, but also you got to feel kind of good that the defense knocked it away. So it's both, and that's Jeff Sims said it. He's like, actually, we're playing pretty poorly. We have too many turnovers. When I asked him about it, I mean, he was very straightforward about that. And so I think they all know that you got to take better care of the football. But you also like the fact that the defense did force a few of them too.
I know you're going to do a segment later this week with Jeremiah. I'll be interested in his analysis of the offensive line. Only 2 sacks allowed in the game, 1 for each side. That's pretty good when you're only giving up a couple of sacks in a game like that where you're moving a bunch of people around and you're playing quite a few walk-ons on that offensive line. So I think there were some good things there. But I do like all the tackles for losses on the defense. I think that's usually a good indicator of that. All right, 402-413-2400, the number to call us up with a comment or question, or you can fire off a text. Let's start with a caller out of North Platte. Jim, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good evening to you and Jessica. You know what? I thought it was a pretty good game, but just like you said, basically turnovers need to be cleaned up. Hey, here's my 2 questions. Why are they scheduling the basically Minnesota game on a Thursday night? And I just heard before you guys come on that they're changing the basically for Nebraska-Illinois game from a Saturday to basically Friday night. Is it all about the just basically money part of it? Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. It's TV driven. And now we've added some new TV partners the league has with NBC and Peacock and CBS, and they're all going to want programming on different nights. And so, yes, it's all about the TV money, and that's why the Illinois game was announced today. Cole had it in the ticker. Friday night, I'm not a big fan of this because we play Michigan. Going to be a short week on the road. I don't like that, but that's going to be the way it is moving forward. We need to get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't love that short turnaround, but it's also when you're playing on a Thursday and Friday night, a lot of times you're the only ticket in town. You're the only or one of all eyes are on you. You're not competing with a bunch of other games that are going on at the same time, so you got a lot of eyeballs that are on your program, and usually the ratings are pretty good for that. So there's some positives that come with it, but and again with the new TV partners and being able to provide all that opportunity, the revenue and everything is just kind of part of it. It's part of the deal.
Chad from Rising City said, I zoned in on Ben Scott. Ben's the transfer from Arizona State, is playing center. Looks like he will be, barring an injury, will be the Huskers starting center next fall. He was a machine. This is Chad. Really impressed with him. Chad, I appreciate you saying that because I have not gone back and watched the game again. That's where my eyes don't really focus in on that very much. That's why I can't wait to hear Jeremiah's take. But I hope you're right, Chad, because that would be huge if he can really grab a hold of that position.
Yeah, and it's you had Cam Jurgens and then Trent Hickson takes it over, and so
Trent won a big honor last night.
I know he did. He was the Student Athlete of the Year.
That's great.
He does so many great. He was such a great representative of this university, and gosh, he was so solid last year. And stepping into that role when it had been Cam Jurgens, and he was a guy who was a leader and
wasn't real talkative.
There were some. Well, he didn't like doing interviews, but he was very talkative. I thought I was really impressed with his leadership on the sideline. I mean, he was trying to keep the defense up when the defense was kind of playing down a little bit. He was talking to the guys because I mean, there were some times that the offensive line had some struggles, and I felt like he was one of the guys that was pretty reliable and pretty solid throughout the whole season. And just again stepping into that role. But that center position is just so important, and you have to do so many things. And so it's absolutely critical that he kind of steps into that, and you developing that relationship with the quarterbacks and learning a new offense and all of the above. It's not an easy task.
Well, looking forward to talking more with Ben. Chad, I hope you're right. I mean, I'm not doubting you because I need to go back and watch it and study guys just like Ben to see how he does. And Jessica, you're right too. I mean, think about how many times this time last year and all summer we were like, God, what's that center position going to be like? Who's going to get it? And a lot of people weren't ready to hand it to Trent. And I'm with you. I thought he was, of the 5 guys, maybe the most solid one week in and week out. So credit to Trent.
Yeah, and it's just there's so much that you have to do. I mean, Jeremiah's talked about it a lot, and he played center, but he played a lot on other
guard
spots.
His other starts have been at guard.
So it wasn't like he was a lifetime center. So, stepping into that role, I know he had worked at it some the last year and was the backup, but I thought he was really, really consistent for the most part when there was some inconsistencies at the beginning of the season with that line. Keep
the calls and texts coming. What's your thoughts, your reaction to Saturday's spring game? 402-413-2400. That is our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. They've got 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. More of the show, including an interview with Cam Lenhart, coming up next.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight, and counting. Made for performance and capability, made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
Baseball season has arrived, and your local Cenex has all your favorite snacks and beverages for the game. So whether you're hitting the road for an away game, headed to Haymarket Park, or going to cheer on your favorite local team, make Cenex your destination for top quality fuel, your favorite snacks, and service from a local smile. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally at Cenex.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card. Free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Anglem swings and he lifts one in the air to right. Long run for Pinkston again. He's to the track. He's to the wall. Back to back home runs. Anderson, now Anglem, and it's 13-1 Cornhuskers.
Tune in tomorrow with Greg Sharpe and Ben McLaughlin as Nebraska baseball takes on Omaha in a midweek matchup. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Huskers Radio Network. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
That's my neighbor Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet, too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. The only designated R1 research university in Nebraska, UNL's innovations power economic growth, precision ag production, tech breakthroughs, and future leaders in Nebraska. With the highest graduation rates and highest median earnings for recent grads of any public university in Nebraska, UNL is doing big things for our state.
Welcome back inside of our Acres Broadcast Center. Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here. It is a Monday night following the spring game. 66,000 tickets sold for that game. Incredible. Huskers, I think, have the third biggest spring game attendance in the country behind the two other Big Ten teams, Ohio State and Penn State. Great turnout Saturday, really cold conditions, so congratulations to all that. Huskers this afternoon picked up another commitment from the weekend. Ian Flint, tight end from Katy, Texas. There's another Texas kid was at the game on Saturday, committed to the Husker coaching staff. That got announced a couple of hours ago, so good weekend for that as well. 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. Irvin Schuyler, did Scott center the ball for field goals and punts? No. Marco Ortiz, who is a transfer from Florida, is the long snapper for those situations. So Ben Scott did not do the snapping on the kicks for the game. Greg and Lincoln, really impressed by the defense, especially the play of M.J. Sherman and Phelan Sanford. I mentioned to Jessica, Phelan Sanford is just, he makes you play him because he just does everything right. And I know he has to kind of sell himself to a new coaching staff, but he just makes plays. The kid just does it.
Yeah, you said on the broadcast, it seems like he's been here forever, but he's a name that we've heard, and he stepped in and filled other roles and has done well on the practice squads, and that's so important too. I mean, being on that scout team and giving a good look for the offense, and so I know he's been well liked around here for a while.
Had an interception in the game on Saturday, made a couple plays as well. Greg also wants to know what do we think about the defensive backs and the linebackers flying toward the football? Damon pointed that out a couple times. I think that was impressive. A lot of hats to the ball.
That's what this defense is, and that's why all the players that I've talked to have said that it kind of allows them to fly around, not think as much, just go make plays. That's why they really like it so much, is it kind of allows you to do that. And that, I mean, when I asked Tony White, what are you looking for? He's like, I want to see him play fast and not hesitate. And so I think he probably saw a lot of good things from his guys when he broke down the film.
Oh, I'm sure they were happy. I'm sure the defensive coaches liked what they saw. First Interstate Bank, built for you. Learn more at www.firstinterstatebank.com. Member FDIC. Again, 402-413-2400. Dennis, on our text line, are the new TV contracts mostly for Thursday through Saturday games? There's not going to be a possibility of a rare Wednesday game. No, the league won't do that. But these new TV partners, particularly the streaming ones of Peacock, are probably going to want some Friday night action to put on there. In all sports, it's going to change a lot of the sports that TV is involved with.
Yeah, but I think it's a positive for some of those Olympic sports that just don't have the airtime that the other sports do. And it's, I mean, I've said this a lot about when we had the Title IX rally, and we were talking with a few of the coaches, and that was one thing that they wish that could change for some of those sports, is having that kind of exposure. So that it's a positive in that regard. And Trev brought that up, that when Kevin Warren was negotiating the deal with these new TV partners and media rights partners, is that they wanted to provide those opportunities for some of those other sports. And so I think it's going to be good. It'll be interesting to see how they work it all out and who gets what and when and how. And I think for the most part, though, maybe if they're guaranteed a stream of a football game, but I think for the most part, football will stay on the broadcast platforms.
I think so too. Yeah. Now you get some other, like Jessica said, some other sports. Brian from Johnson, folks, did Ty Hahn get any playing time? Yeah, Ty had a couple of catches. I think he might have fumbled one, too, but he had 2 catches for 27 yards. He's had a good camp. The coaches mentioned Ty quite frequently. Another walk-on from the state of Nebraska who's done some good things. So he's on their radar. They do definitely see him. Other people that are on their radar, Jessica, were some defensive linemen, true freshmen. Princewell, Uman Mielen had a good day.
Uman Mielen, isn't it?
Uman Mielen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we said it one way on signing day.
Uman Mielen.
Uman Mielen, okay.
He had 3 tackles for losses, 1 sack. Then you had also, I liked Sincere, who had 4 tackles in the secondary, but then also Cam Lenhart, who was a guy that made his official announcement to Nebraska at an all-star game. I think he told the coaches before that, but he made the official announcement early January, I think, was when that happened. I think I was gone when that happened.
Yeah, it was at the Army All-American game.
That was it.
Yeah.
And he made the announcement. You had a chance to talk to him after the game.
He was committed, and then, I think wanted to explore and see, but he loves Terrence Knighton, and he's come in and has made an immediate impact. He's another one of those names we've heard a lot throughout the spring. So, yeah, I got a chance to chat with him after the spring game. His first spring game. How'd you feel? First spring game?
First spring game ever. I mean, I loved it, just being around there and the environment. And then, my first time playing in front of 60,000 people. I mean, it was great. I loved every second of it.
What was it like doing the tunnel walk and then running out in front of over 66,000?
I mean, I loved it. I came here looking for tradition, and, that's what I got. And that's tradition right there, just all the fans and all the love. I loved every second of it.
You're a name that keeps coming up over and over this spring of what you've been able to do. What was your approach to spring to be able to come in here and make an impact?
So coming in, just one step at a time, just take it day by day. Just getting 1% better and, just trusting the process. Not worrying about, the fall, just worrying about each day getting better spring.
How much did you feel like your game grew this spring?
Yeah, so my game improved a lot, whether it was taking on run blocking and pass rushing. I would say, coming out of high school, my pass was a 6. We're working on getting it to a 10. Coach T. Knight's helping me a lot. Coach White, the staff here is really helping me a lot.
Overall, how do you like the defense, Tony White's defense?
I love it. I love where I fit in it. My versatility, I'm able to play a lot of positions across the defensive line, and I love the defense. I could just go out and go hunt.
You mentioned a lot of work to be done for this football team. So now that spring football's in the books, what is next? What do you guys need to do now?
Just come in and the summer, condition, just keep building the brotherhood. That's the most important thing, and build the love within the team. That's the most important thing right there.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Look how big he is already. He's supposed to be in high school right now.
Right. He should be finishing up high school. It came early. He looks the part. He just really. So does Princewell. They both look the part out there.
Which Princewell was someone that, both of these guys, but on signing day with Princewell, they felt like these were 2 guys that could come in and make an immediate impact. And they're not going to be scared to play true freshmen if they're the best guys. And I think those 2 guys, especially with some of the injuries and some guys being in and out, that I think that they've kind of ran with some opportunities here this spring.
Sam in Omaha says Gage Singer reminds me of JoJo Doman. That's not bad.
Wow.
Sam, that's probably pretty accurate. Their body types are pretty close.
I think Gage is a little shorter.
Probably.
Maybe 2 inches or so, because JoJo was pretty tall. I interviewed Gage. Now, Gage might have grown since then, but because you can grow a little bit later. But, and kind of a just athletic, fast playmaker, understands where to go get the ball. I like that. I like that comparison.
Yep, good. And Gage made a couple big plays at the pick at the end of the game as well. Caught me off guard because he changed jerseys. He'd been on the white defense all day, and then all of a sudden he's wearing red. That's what bothers me about spring games. All right, need to take a break. 402-413-2400. That is our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com. Anytime, 18 brands, huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. Again, 402-413-2400. More of the show coming up.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm sports media student Connor Clark with Campus News. More than $145 million in gross revenue has been generated by startup companies, founded by alumni of UNL's Angler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program, since the program began in 2010. With over 230 Angler Program alumni growing businesses across Nebraska, the Angler Program is making a big impact on the lives of students, alumni, and Nebraskans.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight, and counting. Made for performance and capability, made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
To win the game, you got to have more strength. You got to be tougher. You got to be reliable. You got to want it more than the other guy. And you need a great team you can count on, backing you up the whole time. Whether it's in the field with your Massey Ferguson or on the field with the Huskers, red is the color of getting it done quicker, smarter, and efficiently. So this season, make sure you're checking out the lineup that'll get more done where and when it counts. From your Nebraska Massey Ferguson dealers.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioner is out again. SOS, he screams and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike.
Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. They are the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody. We're recapping Saturday's red-white scrimmage that wraps up spring football practice. Huskers now will be having individual meetings with each player. Coach Rhule's going to meet with each player over the next couple of days. You're probably going to hear some portal news coming out of the Nebraska program in the next few days. And then a lot of the coaches are heading out to recruit. The head coach cannot, but the other coaches can. So there'll be some stuff popping the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, and gotta trim down the roster a little bit, and I feel like you need to probably add some additions, but you're also on some of them holding your breath to get to next Sunday. You know,
right?
Like,
you want them to.
There's a few guys that you don't want to get into the portal, but yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. It's what's going to happen, and I think that's what's great about this coaching staff too. Is they're going to be honest with these guys, and they're going to be pretty transparent about where you stand and what your future looks like here. And maybe some guys are thinking about moving positions, and if you want to play here, this is what you're going to have to do. And I think they're going to be really honest. And maybe some guys are going to think this might not be where I want to be then. And I think that's okay. That's part of it. But I also think it's cool that they gave them a complete blank slate. And the fact that there hadn't been that many enter the portal at this point,
right,
I think really speaks volumes to what the conversations and the communication has been like between the coaching staff and players.
I need to pull this up, but it's been a wild day in Boulder, Colorado, where
the leading receiver is in the portal.
I think they had 15 kids today go in the portal
for
Colorado after their spring game on Saturday. So it's like a mass exodus. Yep, 15 buffs into the portal today for Colorado football. That's a lot. And they weren't above the limit like Nebraska is. They weren't. So bizarre stuff. Ken wants to know about it. Isaiah, he was hurt, did not suit up for the game today. He's still on the football team, just did not suit up Saturday.
IGC, he said spelling. We call him IGC here on
That's the best way to go,
Nightly.
Right? Let's go to West Point. Husker Dan's up next on the program. Good evening, Dan.
Hi, Jessica and Greg. How are you?
Hey, Dan.
Hey, long time no see, Jessica.
I know. Where you been?
I know. Hey, first and foremost, I just want to say that Saturday morning I woke up and I felt like a kid at Christmas. I couldn't wait for this thing to start and get going, and my wife was laughing at me, and I was so antsy. I was cleaning the house for her, and she said, I wish it was a spring game every Saturday, but beside that, I thought everything, the floor plan for the spring game, everything with Solich, to the game itself, to the mascot, everything was just, I wish the weather would be better, and it was a good turnout with the crowd. I was just in awe just watching everything take place, and I really thought that when they gave that the locker room to name that after Solich, I thought that was really cool.
Pretty appropriate, wasn't it, Dan? I think everybody was so glad that Frank allowed us to kind of give him a hug last weekend. I'm glad he came back. And I told Jessica earlier in the hour, I've got the sense from Coach, he was really glad that he made the decision to come back as well.
And he's just not about him, but I think once he got here and realized that this wasn't really about him. I mean, it was, but there was so much to it, and it meant so much to so many people that he realized he was also doing this for other people. That's kind of probably what helped alleviate some of that apprehension. It meant a lot to a lot of people for him to be here, and so I think once he saw that too, it had to. He is so nice. I mean, and you could just tell when he heard the reception and people were cheering for him. It meant a lot to him. So that was for sure. And I agree with you. I wish the weather was better too, Dan.
Control with control, right, Dan?
That's right.
All right, buddy. Good to hear from you. Thanks for the phone call up in West Point. And, yeah, you can't control the weather. And so I think from the other aspects of it, what the football staff, what everybody at athletics did to make that day a really special day was terrific. I thought the unveiling of Herbie was great. The big T-shirt cannon thing was phenomenal. Somebody was reporting earlier that it was shooting at hot dogs. I don't know. I don't think hot dogs can take that kind of pressurized shot. I mean, those things were coming out of there in a hurry.
I wouldn't want to catch a hot dog from that thing.
Jeez. Things were flying out of there for that. All right, 402-413-2400. Need to step aside, get our final break in, wrap up hour one next.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Shop Woodhouse Nissan when looking for your next crossover or SUV. Our team takes the pressure out of car buying and lets you shop at your own pace and convenience. Right now, you can lease a new 2023 Rogue S for $179 a month for 18 months, 10,000 miles per year. With all-wheel drive capabilities and 5 drive modes, the Rogue delivers power when you need it. Visit one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Nissan locations today. With approved credit, tax title license extra. Discounted price based on sale price of $29,350. VIN number PC7748896. Expires 4/30/23.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Farmers can make what seems impossible reality with a little hard work and ingenuity. They find solutions to reduce inputs and improve their yield. Valley Irrigation is no different. As the leader in irrigation technology, we deliver results and optimize your operation. Because when you have a vision for the future, you need the people that can make it possible by your side. Expect what's next. Expect what's possible from Valley. Visit us at valleyirrigation.com.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
See shelter agent Sharon Lear in Papillion, Paul Hoos in Grand Island, or an Ord C agent Matt Woodward.
Time to see what's on tap, presented by Bud Light. Husker baseball tomorrow night up in Omaha to take on the Mavericks. 7 o'clock for first pitch will be on the air at 6 for pregame coverage. And Husker softball will be at Northwestern for big series over the weekend. 4 o'clock on Friday. We'll have it for you here on the HRN with pregame at 3:45. Boy, they had an exciting series out at Bowling this weekend. 10 innings on Friday. Then they Wisconsin rallied Saturday and scored 3 in the 7th to strip one away. And then yesterday was a 2-1 game. really competitive series.
Yeah, it was fun. And I know they gave away tickets for fans that went to the spring game to get out there on Saturday. But I've been pretty impressed with the different ways they've found to win. You know, I mean, bouncing back and winning a close pitcher's duel, but then they've also out-hit people. I mean, they're finding other ways. And it seems like somebody different maybe delivering in different moments when they have to have it. So big series this weekend at Northwestern.
Sure is. Northwestern's got a 3-game lead right now in the league race. Again, that's what's on tap, presented by Bud Light. Mark on our text line said that Colorado situation is just a train derailment waiting to happen. Dion is not a good fit at all. Only a matter of time before the fans in Boulder find that out. Right now, though, they're riding the wave. ESPN only televised spring practice was theirs. They had a sellout crowd out in Boulder for the game, so he's getting a lot of attention out there.
And for as many of the players that are in the portal or that are leaving to go to the portal, I bet he thinks he's getting from the portal and all of that. So it's easy to, and probably he wants to get his guys in there too. Some of those guys might not be his, and so I think he probably thinks that, okay, I'll just replace you guys with guys that want to be here. It's probably Dion's take on it.
Another text in for us. The spring game meant a lot to me from the Tribune, and welcome back to Coach Solich. Naming the new locker room for Coach brought tears. I hope we don't ever hear again that we need to change the tunnel walk music. It all brings chills every time.
Hey, funny story on that. So Gabe Irvin was the Cornhusker conversation, and it was the day after we taped it the day after we had the big kind of debate about if that should change or not. And I asked him, I was like, what do you think about that? Because all the texts were still up on the text line.
Oh, yeah.
He was kind of asking what was going on with that. And I said, what do you think? And he said, no, don't change it. I think the players that come in, that it's a tradition, that's what they know. And I think probably most of the players would be like, no, we like it how it is, because it's part of why you come here, and you see it when you're a recruit. And so for fans that maybe are here every single game for years and years and years, maybe they think it needs to be changed. But I think the players kind of like it as it is.
And they probably, like Coach Rural, watch that on YouTube before they come here. And they go, I want to hear it and how that sounds.
Well, and you think about if you're here for 4 years and you only have 5-6 home games, you don't really get that many opportunities. It's not like they're getting sick of it every time they run out there. So it's maybe 20 times you get to do it, or 30 max.
7 games a year, 28, 30 times. Spring game, get to do it every spring game. Speaking of tickets, volleyball tickets go on sale tomorrow for the Volleyball Day in Nebraska, 10 a.m. for season ticket holders. So you have to be a volleyball season ticket holder, 10 a.m. tomorrow. To the general public, Wednesday, 10 a.m. to get your tickets. They're expecting a pretty big crowd for Volleyball Day in Nebraska.
Absolutely. We're going to get that record back, right? That's the goal?
It will be the record setter, and it may never get broke unless somebody
What do you
it.
think? What's your kind of under?
I'm in the mid-30s. I think 35,000 is kind of where I'm sitting.
35,000?
I think I'll put the over-under at 35. So
I'll take the over.
Okay. And we don't know the concert yet. That may dictate for some people whether that's going to be something they're going to come in. We had Trev last week on the program, and he said he's working hard on campus administrators to stop classes that day at noon because they need the parking lots.
Yeah.
They need for people to park. So they're going to, he says, we don't have it finalized, but we're working toward that to cut off class at noon on that day because it's middle of the week.
Come
Wednesday.
on. What's the holdup on that? Let's go. It's a volleyball day. When do you get to do that?
This is a place of higher education. You have to have those kids in class, Jessica. They got to be here to learn
You know what?
things.
There's this thing called Zoom.
Yeah.
You know? Online learning became a thing a couple years ago.
Well, see, you and I get spoiled in the summertime because we have plenty of parking out
Yes.
here. Then they come back to school in August. We're like, oh.
And during Christmas break.
Got to loop around and look for parking spots. So we'll, Trev will keep us updated on that one. If they get that done where they have to shut off parking on campus and there are no classes on that afternoon of the Nebraska Day in volleyball. But tomorrow, for you season ticket holders, tomorrow, 10 a.m. for that to happen. All right, time to tell you to buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Our baseball show with head coach Will Bolt coming up next hour. Get your comments, questions ready for him. We'll talk some ball next hour.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Cornerstone Bank proudly serves Nebraska with a full line of loan and deposit products. Cornerstone is large enough to handle all of your financial needs while offering the personal service you deserve and the local decision-making you expect from a family-owned community bank. Stop in or call one of the Cornerstone Bank locations near you to discover the Cornerstone difference. Bank on a solid foundation. Cornerstone Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
This is the Husker Baseball Show on the Huskers Radio Network with head coach Will Bolt. Presented by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit buyfordnow.com.
First pitch to Josh. Breaking ball hammered to left. That is absolutely crushed. Way out of here over the hitting facility in left field. Utagawa's 0-1 pitch. Matthews swings and hits one hard in the air to left. Is it high enough? You bet it is. It's a homer for Matthews. Solo shot into left, and it's 7-3 Nebraska.
The 0-2 from Perry. Swing and a miss. Kyle Perry has faced 3 and struck out 3. So the fifth-year senior dealing. 1-1 to Calarco. The pitch. Hot shot to third. Nice pick by Carey to second for 1. On to first. In time. Double play. Slick. Fielding play by Dylan Carey at third base.
Here's the 3-2 to Swanson. Gabe swings and drills one in the air to center. Backing up is Kaplan. He's to the track. He's to the wall. It is gone. It's a 3-run shot for Swanson. His second homer of the day. And Nebraska's lead swells yet again to 18-1.
Here is your host, Greg Sharpe, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to our weekly sit down with the head baseball coach of the Cornhuskers, Will Bolt. If you want to be a part of the program tonight, 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. Busy week coming up for the Big Red. They'll play 5 games, 2 midweeks, and then the weekend series with Minnesota coming in. You kind of ran into a buzzsaw this weekend, an Iowa team that was motivated and hot, and I know it was a rough weekend for you and the guys.
Yeah, it was, and it was. I got to give Iowa a ton of credit. I mean, they played at an extremely high level for 3 straight days, no let up there. We just didn't do a whole lot right either. On our end of it, starting pitching was very disappointing. It felt like we had an opportunity there with Emmett having a chance to bounce back after a short outing, and just didn't set the tone very well on the mound. And outside of the top 3 guys in our lineup, there just wasn't a lot of help there to be had. And Iowa, like I said, I mean, they pitched it, and just seeing their pitching up close, the 3 starters and then the guys that they brought out of the bullpen, very, very impressive. I mean, it's as good a pitching staff as I've seen in the Big Ten since I've, been at Nebraska. Their lineup was just tough. They made us throw the ball over the plate. They competed with 2 strikes, and every time they had a chance to cash in, it seemed like they did. So, obviously a disappointing weekend, but nothing that we can't bounce back from.
They were underwater in the league standings going into the weekend. They were 4-5, and you were sitting there at 7-2, and so you knew they probably all week put a big emphasis on that series. Now it's up to the Huskers to match that intensity as well. Are you concerned about Emmett? That's back-to-back weeks where he didn't go very deep in the game. We were able to overcome it with Northwestern, couldn't the other way. What are you seeing from Emmett right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's our Friday guy, and he couldn't have been any better. He was, the Big Ten pitcher of the week, the 2 weeks prior to that. So, certainly don't want to see it become a trend. It's nothing, that he can't fix. I think just the fastball command has not been as good as what we've seen from him for the majority of this season. Falling behind in some counts, becoming a little predictable with the fastball at times, and just not really having, because the fastball command's not there. He's chasing the count, and then he's not landing the changeup and the breaking ball at times. And we've seen him be pretty good at the beginning of each of the last 2 weeks, and then as he's had some base runners kind of reach on him, he just hasn't been as good out of the stretch. So that's really where he's been very, very competitive for us, is in those situations where he's had a bear down, and a lot of that comes from having the secondary pitches that he needs to have and the fastball command, and that just has kind of evaded him a little bit the last 2 weeks. So Emmett's been a pretty consistent starting pitcher for us for the better part of the last year and a half. So I'm going to bet on him to make the corrections he needs to make with Coach Christie, and be much, much better for us down the stretch.
People, I think, sometimes wonder why in college baseball we talk so much about the Friday starter, but they're the tone setter for the entire weekend series. And yeah, Iowa's kid threw 100 miles per hour, but you had him on the ropes a couple times.
Yeah.
He was walking guys, throwing wild pitches. If Emmett was kind of Emmett of 3 weeks ago, that could have been easily a Husker win that night.
Yeah, and the game, totally flips when you're chasing runs, and especially when you're chasing runs against a pitching staff like that, where they've got really good stuff and they've got stuff that can punch you out. We need to be on that side of it. For us, that's what we've seen from this group this year. Kind of how we're built is if we can get a lead with our pitching staff, we can kind of get teams on swing and make them chase and get a little bit anxious in the box. When we play from behind, it's obviously a lot tougher. We had to go to this, the bullpen the last 2 Fridays in the 3rd and 4th inning. That's tough sledding for the weekend, and we only got about not even 9 innings combined from our 3 starters. So not easy to win against anybody when you don't get good starting pitching. A team like Iowa, again, they were 19-3 to start the year. Talking to Coach Heller, they were 4-5 going into the week, but felt like they had played a lot better than probably what their record showed, and they'd played a tough schedule up to that point. So, there's a lot of things that we can correct, and the way I look back at it is you don't want to have those weekends. Don't get me wrong; it is absolutely abysmal to go through. Been doing this long enough; you hardly go through a season without a weekend or two. You know, and for us, it's been 9 weeks. We for 8 weeks we won the weekend. We won series and swept series and wearing black on the weekends on the road and wearing the striped socks at home, and it's just one of those things that we need to bounce back from it.
And you've swept 2 series on the weekend. You swept out South Alabama, and then you got to sweep over Northwestern. So you've been on the other side of that twice already this year. All right, Jace, gave him the week off. What'd you see from him after the week off?
Kind of similar to Emmett. The first inning, he looked sharp. Fastball was up to 94, but kind of saw the velo dip with him. I thought he threw a couple more breaking balls that were a little bit better, a little sharper, even some right-on-right changeups in there. But same type deal, just the command still wasn't as good as we needed to have from him, and the secondary stuff was not there. And then, like I said, when the velo kind of dipped down to 89, 90, it was a little bit concerning as well, and he feels fine. So we just need to get him back to that point as well where, early in the season, it's hard to really, forget. I mean, it's easy to forget, I guess, how good he was. He would go 5 and 6 innings, 2 hits, less than 3 runs for just about 5 or 6 starts in a row. So, for us to get on the right side of winning these series, Emmett and Jace are a big part of that.
Denny in Omaha for you, Coach, says, is the B-hack a thing of the past? All I see from our guys is swinging with 2 strikes. And is that the same thing as a slash? Is B-hack the same thing as a slash?
B-hack was something that was it's kind of been Coach Anderson taught the B-hack, back when I played. And so there are some elements to that. I don't think we don't call it the B-hack, but there are some elements to, choking up and some of that stuff.
Now, Iowa did perform kind of a slash on you, right? Squared the butt and then chopped one over the head of over Ephra, I think, at third base in yesterday's game.
Yeah, they did. They did a slash, and again, it's kind of one of those things. We've been on the other side of those,
right.
Where we're the ones kind of executing and getting those hops, and just over the outstretched arm of Ephra there. And again, tip your cap to them. I mean, they executed at a high level. When they needed to get a bunt down, they did so. We didn't. When they wanted to hit and run, they executed. We didn't. We made some outs on the bases. And again, that's something that we haven't seen a lot of from this team is, that some of the base running mistakes. And we did that this weekend, so things that you can't do if you want to win baseball games against good teams. Question in the chat room for you about what's your philosophy about keeping the bunt on with 2 strikes? Well, it just kind of depends on the situation. If you feel like it's a guy that is a double play candidate, then, you want to avoid the double play. If it's a guy that, is a high strikeout guy potentially at times or isn't seeing the ball great, then you'll just go ahead and ask him to put the bunt down with 2 strikes. Certainly you don't want to get to that point in time. You want to be able to, in certain situations you give the hitter a chance to drive the run in, and if he doesn't do that, then you put the bunt on, and then you give him a couple chances to do it. So, I think we've seen it. I think Iowa got a bunt down with 2 strikes. Creighton got a bunt down with 2 strikes against us. So, you just got to be able to do it. You got to be able to execute it no matter what the count is, in my opinion. The 1890 Initiative, helping Husker student-athletes navigate name, image, and likeness. To learn more or donate, visit 1890nebraska.com. We'll bolt with us for the hour, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. These weekends, like you said, are miserable to go through. Good thing that you have
games coming up right away, starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big week, a 5-game week with the two midweeks, and no time to feel sorry for yourself. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, that's the thing. The beauty about the game of baseball is you get to play multiple times a week. You don't have to sit on a loss, for an entire week before you get out there and play again like some other sports. But great opportunities for us this week to bounce back and show what we're made of.
Going to test your pitching depth a little bit with these 2 midweeks.
Yeah, we're going to have some guys step up that haven't thrown a ton. And, we've seen Drew Christo have a couple of good outings in a row. Brett Sears has now had a good couple of appearances in a row, which has been good to see. And we have some other guys that are some veterans that are going to need to continue to be consistent for us.
Brett Sears looks like a candidate for a guy that can go longer in games because he can mix 4 pitches, right?
Yeah, and that's, maybe we did him a bit of a disservice putting him in the bullpen. We felt like, when he's in the pen, he's 92, 95 at times. And the fastball, for whatever reason, just didn't play up the way that we thought it would. And then, he's kind of trying to power pitch, and then the secondary stuff wasn't as good. But when we've seen him kind of go out there and do some, longer outings, he's mixed the changeup a little bit better. The slider, he's changed his grip on his breaking ball, so the slider does look better than it has this entire year. Maybe that's something that we can look at. Maybe this week, this week would be a good time to see it, and him in a little bit more of an expanded role instead of just 1 inning or a couple of outs or coming in with traffic. Giving him a chance to have a clean inning and maybe go multiple innings like he did on Saturday.
He's been a starter was he at Western Illinois? Yeah. Is that where he was before?
He was, yeah. He was a starter there. Obviously in junior college he was as well, and he was a candidate to do that here. But like I said, I mean, we felt like we had our starting rotation kind of solidified, and he brought some stuff to the pen, the good fastball and the velocity. So just didn't work out that way. He's a guy that certainly can help us down the stretch. I mean, needs to help us down the stretch, and a couple of good outings in a row has been a good sign from him.
Good. Defensively, this was a week Iowa threw some glove at you. A couple times you hit the ball hard. They made plays. Again, you tip your cap to them. Where do you feel like you are defensively with your team right now?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, the series stats on the weekend, both Iowa and Nebraska, we made 2 errors. And I think we actually may have had a slightly better fielding percentage, but that didn't tell the story. They played playmaking defense, and we just didn't this weekend, meaning that, we had some 50-50 plays, balls up against the outfield wall that cost us a couple of runs that we didn't make plays on, maybe missing a cutoff man, some 50-50 plays in the infield where it may not have gone down as an error, but their third baseman was making those plays. Their shortstop played amazingly well all weekend. Their center fielder comes in and makes a diving play on E-Fry. They go up against the wall and make a catch on Max, with runners in scoring position. So they were on the right side of that playmaking defense, and we've been a pretty solid defensive team this year. We need to be on the right side of those plays in those moments of the game where we need to make a big play. And it may go down as a hit for the other team if you don't make it, but sometimes you need to come get those choppers, throw a strike across the infield, turn the double play. I think there were probably a couple of double plays in there that I feel like we could have turned that we just didn't, giving them extra outs. And there were some wild pitches in there this weekend that just killed us. I mean, it was not the number of free bases. It was just too many against a good team.
And that's why, as I listened to the Friday game, that's where you had opportunities against Brecht because he was throwing some wild pitches. I think there was a pickoff play in there that hurt the Huskers. Also, I think he got called out twice over the weekend for batter interference.
Yeah, 2 innings in a row, on Sunday. And we kind of had him on the ropes a little bit, swing at ball 4 on one of those occasions on a ball in the dirt, fall over the plate. And then another one, it was the first 2 innings of the game, I think it was. So tough one to swallow. We got back picked in again, in the second inning, I think, of the first game.
That was Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night game. Yeah, like I said, I mean, stuff that we haven't really done much of that kind of showed up at the wrong time this weekend. And again, we've proven to be a consistent team on the weekends, and we were not this weekend. And we're going to get a chance to show that we do have some mental toughness with this group. People wanted to write us off after the first weekend.
Sure.
Sure, there's plenty that want to do so now, but we just need to go out and compete the best we can and know that we have a good team and stick together.
Coach Bolt with us until the top of the hour, 402-413-2400. That is our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com. Anytime, they've got 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned that you can always find what you're looking for with Woodhouse. More with the coach coming up.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there is no place that treats you like your home like Sapp Brothers. For over 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and has been a reliable partner to local farms, businesses, and Huskers fans across Nebraska, providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment, and welcoming guests into our travel centers. Visit www.sappbros.net. Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Huskers Athletics.
The Nebraska Lottery has given over $900 million back to our state since 1993. It's gone to improve our environment, education, and state fair.
Over $900 million? That's something.
I'll say.
Hey, I have a great idea for a commercial. Have someone count to 900 million out loud.
That would take 28 years. Not a good idea.
I don't know, with a little background music and some sound effects.
There's another studio down the hall. Why don't you get started?
The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Anglem swings and he lifts one in the air to right. Long run for Pinkston again. He's to the track. He's to the wall. Back to back home runs. Anderson, now Anglem, and it's 13-1 Cornhuskers.
Tune in tomorrow with Greg Sharpe and Ben McLaughlin as Nebraska baseball takes on Omaha in a midweek matchup. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Huskers Radio Network. Tune in to your local affiliates or at huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Baseball season has arrived, and your local Cenex has all your favorite snacks and beverages for the game. So whether you're hitting the road for an away game, headed to Haymarket Park, or going to cheer on your favorite local team, make Cenex your destination for top quality fuel, your favorite snacks, and service from a local smile. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally at Cenex.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hello, tomorrow. We may not know exactly what you've got in store for us, for our routines and our normals. But here's the thing. Turns out, we've got this. We haven't seen everything, but we have seen ourselves be more ready for whatever you bring than we thought we would be. So when it comes to tomorrow, bring on the day. First Interstate, built for you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Visit us at firstinterstate.com.
To win the game, you got to have more strength. You got to be tougher. You got to be reliable. You got to want it more than the other guy. And you need a great team you can count on, backing you up the whole time. Whether it's in the field with your Massey Ferguson or on the field with the Huskers, red is the color of getting it done quicker, smarter, and efficiently. So this season, make sure you're checking out the lineup that'll get more done where and when it counts. From your Nebraska Massey Ferguson dealers.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The thoughtfully redesigned 2023 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, more than Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4. The 2023 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of June 2022. Duteau Subaru in Lincoln and DuteauSubaru.com.
I think farming picked me. I didn't pick farming. I'm not afraid to try something new. It's my farm, my family, and our future. My Channel Seedsman gets that. I get access to innovative products with personalized advice backed by data to maximize my yield potential. With Channel, I know I'll prosper for years to come.
Define your future at channel.com/future. Read and follow pesticide label directions, IRM, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices. Copyright 2022 Bayer Group. All rights reserved.
Anglem swings and he lifts one in the air to right. Long run for Pinkston again. He's to the track. He's to the wall. Back to back home runs. Anderson, now Anglem, and it's 13-1 Cornhuskers.
Tune in tomorrow with Greg Sharpe and Ben McLaughlin as Nebraska baseball takes on Omaha in a midweek matchup. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Huskers Radio Network. Tune in to your local affiliates, redhuskers.com, or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Head coach Will Bolt with us until the top of the hour, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. Art in Los Angeles wants to know if you can update us on the status of the Creighton game that was last Tuesday, a 4-4 game, bottom of the seventh, when the Lightning came. You had the bases loaded, nobody out. What's the plan on that?
Yeah, so we obviously knew there was weather going into it. The game was on BTN, so unfortunately we weren't able to. I think if we'd have been able to move it up an hour, we would have been okay. But we had to leave it at 7 o'clock. So then you have that discussion ahead of time, and it's ultimately up to the home team can make that decision. You say, do you want to play a halted game? And you do a halted game if you have another game left with that team on the schedule, or if it's a weekend series, or you say, hey, we're going to obviously play a halted game on Friday. You don't end it after 5 complete, or you can make the decision to say, hey, how many ever innings we get in tonight, if it's after 5, then it's a complete game. Obviously, if it doesn't get to 5, like last year against Creighton, I think it was we were up
in the fourth,
3-0 or 3-1 or something like that in the fourth. And we didn't have a game to play. There wasn't another game. We only had 2 games against them last year. So we didn't have that option to do a halted game last year. So we talked before the game and said, we'll do a halted game. If we stop in the middle of this one, we'll go finish it up at Charles Schwab.
Yep.
I think it's May the 9th is the date. So I think it was supposed to be a 7 o'clock start. We'll go up there a couple hours early, start the game in that situation. They had just made a pitching change, so we'll have bottom of the 7th. Nobody out, and it will be the home team for that game, and then we'll finish the second
anybody
game.
that has pitched will not be allowed to come back into the game, right?
Yeah. Now Shanneman is in the game for us.
So he could go.
So he can go. Obviously, it's going to depend on how our weekend prior to that goes.
Yeah.
I think we're at Maryland maybe the weekend before that. So, but yeah, their pitcher that had just been signaled into the game, he'll be the one that is on the mound for them.
Okay.
And we'll be able to finish that game in that situation. We waited for an hour. We wanted to get the game in, but unfortunately the lightning was what kept us. It was the rain was a non-issue. I mean, I can't believe it looking at the radar, but the lightning strikes were still too close as of 1 a.m., so there was no way we were going to finish that game.
Brandon in Omaha said, do you think, Coach, that we are a late game comeback away or maybe a blowout away for turning this thing around and getting some confidence going? That's one thing you really haven't done all year. You really haven't had a late rally to rip one away from somebody yet this year.
Yeah, we haven't, and it's one of those things where you look at it and talk about confidence. It's a pretty fleeting thing, right? After the Northwestern series, we sweep that weekend and we hit 7 home runs on Sunday. You're not as good as you think you are right there, and you're not as bad as you are after a sweep against Iowa. So to think that we're just completely down in the dumps after one bad weekend, I mean, that's not the way we operate. So confidence is not an issue. Our guys will be ready to go and get back at it. But yeah, there haven't been any of those, and that's why I think this team hasn't quite peaked yet. We've seen a 9 of 10 stretch from this group on the heels of that kind of tough first weekend. But we haven't peaked yet, I don't think, and I think that may be still coming. We need kind of that moment where you get the walk-off hit, you get the big hit. Certainly the big hits are contagious, and we didn't get them this weekend. They came in bunches the weekend before. We got a couple of big hits against Creighton. So in the game of baseball, you got to be in the middle. You can't get too high or too low. You're never as good as people tell you are, as bad as people tell you are, and you got to keep the blinders on, and that's where we're at right now.
Another text question for you. Worried at all about the number of errors for Bryce?
Sure. I mean, I think anytime that you have some mistakes that you need to correct them. But I can tell you this: Bryce Matthews works harder than anybody else. He cares more than anybody else. He is our shortstop. Couldn't be prouder of him. The way he's played this year. He's not perfect, and he's working extremely hard at it. And we're with him 100% of the way, and his teammates are too. They have all the faith and trust in him, and we're going to ride with Bryce Matthews. Love him. He's a captain for a reason, and just want to see him play with confidence and the confidence that he's shown at the plate. Just to make sure that that's there and be the captain of our defense. And he's our shortstop. He's our guy.
Folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Huskers will play in Omaha tomorrow night, back home to play South Dakota State Wednesday, and then the Gophers here over the weekend. The longest tenured coach in college baseball, John Anderson, will be back to bring in Minnesota Golden Gophers in over the weekend. The bats have been so consistent for you all year long. We talked a little bit about this in the opening segment, but in the last two games in Iowa, we get one run. I mean, that has to be a little puzzling to see that kind of an unplugged offense over a couple of days. And again, some of it goes with the other team. They pitched it pretty well.
Sure, and you said it. I mean, we've been remarkably consistent. I mean, very, very few dry spells offensively. I mean, hitting is typically very up and down, and there have been very few valleys for this offense. A couple things came into play this weekend. Number one, the extra base hit was non-existent. We've averaged 2 home runs a game this year. That's we're one of the better power hitting teams in the country. One of the better slugging teams, the number one slugging team in the conference, and one of the best slugging teams in the country. So to get only 2 extra base hits on the weekend, that's been the way we scored a lot of our runs. I think we went 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position. So timely hitting when you're not getting the extra base hit, when you got to take advantage of those situations, and we were not good there. Like I said, the top 3 guys in our order were on base quite a bit. Needed some of the guys at the back half of the order, the role players, some of the guys to kind of step up and, just chip in. And we just really didn't have that this weekend. And we've had it throughout the course of the entire season. That's why we've had such a consistent offense, is because the guys that, Max and Bryce have done a lot, for this offense. And Casey Burnham's gotten on base at an extremely high clip for this offense. And we've had guys chip in, and we've had several different guys be Big Ten Player of the Week. Cole Evans, Gabe Swanson certainly could have been, one week. And so, that part of it's baseball sometimes. And Iowa was really, really good on the mound. We didn't do much to make them uncomfortable. And when they were in those pressure situations, they made some big pitches.
Brandon from Kearney on our text line for you, Coach. It's awesome to see Buns and Perry putting up some good outings. Love seeing Efry get some more at-bats.
Yeah, Buns and Perry, couple of left-handers that are veterans. I mean, we need those guys. They probably didn't have their best outings over the weekend, but they've been pretty consistent for us here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They're 2 of the better competitors on our team, too. So love giving them the ball. Love how they work on the mound, their tempo, their competitiveness. And they've thrown a lot of strikes this year, too. So need those guys to keep coming. And, yeah, Efry's been on the barrel quite a bit. He's been one of our better guys in Big Ten play. Carey is an amazing third baseman. Efry is a good defender in his own right. He's played some first base for us, played some third base for us. He got robbed of a couple of hits over the weekend. So, yeah, I mean, he's a fifth-year guy. Going into the season, that's one of the things we talked about was his improvement at the plate, and we've seen that from him.
Well, time now for this week's Husker Baseball Trivia Contest, brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery. Your chance to receive $100 in scratch tickets from the Nebraska Lottery. Limit 1 winner per household for this season. We want you to text your guest to our text line of 402-413-2400. We've seen an increase around college baseball in hit by pitches. Which Husker has been hit by the most pitches here in 2023? If you have the right answer, fire us off a text, 402-413-2400. We'll tell you who the winner is coming up next.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Grant Hansen with Campus News. As worldwide leaders in ag technology, UNL faculty and students innovate using emerging technologies to improve yields and nutrition, and designing wireless in-field networks increasing precision in agriculture. Plus, UNL is breaking ground on a $7.2 million feedlot innovation center near Meade. UNL is doing big things for the future of agriculture.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Baseball season has arrived, and your local Cenex has all your favorite snacks and beverages for the game. So whether you're hitting the road for an away game, headed to Haymarket Park, or going to cheer on your favorite local team, make Cenex your destination for top quality fuel, your favorite snacks, and service from a local smile. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally at Cenex.
Bring even more action to your drive when you purchase your next vehicle at Woodhouse Buick GMC. You can take advantage of $3,000 off MSRP on the 2022 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT, or discover the Buick Envision. Receive $1,750 off MSRP on the 2023 Buick Envision. Explore our current inventory in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. We are professional grade. With approved credit, see dealer for details. Expires 4/30/23.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioner is out again. SOS, he screams and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with JTech Solar. JTech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. JTech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Welcome back to our Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour with Will Bolt. We're here till the top of the hour. We asked you our Nebraska Lottery trivia question going into the break. Name the Husker that's been hit by the most pitches this year. A lot of Garrett Anglem guesses, and that's a good one. But remember, Garrett missed about 3 weeks with that hammy, so the answer is Casey Burnham, who's been hit 15 times. Tim and Clarkson knew the right answer to that. So, Tim, congratulations. You're going to get $100 in scratch tickets. The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $923 million, which has helped to provide more than 150,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery helping to build a better Nebraska 15 times. We got 17 games to go. A lot of hits.
It's a lot of hit by pitch. Yeah, and I guess he's been hit in the shin, I think 3 or 4 times by fastballs. So that doesn't feel good, especially for a guy that can run like he can. He's a tough kid.
He's done a nice job for you. He's played really well in center. We talked about defense earlier in the show. He's done a good job patrolling center field for you.
He's taken away a lot of hits out there in both gaps, coming in on balls. Really, really glad he's on our team.
Gets a good jump out there. He seems like he sees it really well off the bat.
He does, and he can play a little deeper too. With his speed, he can really close. He comes in on the ball really well, so he has that good feel of not because he plays a little bit deeper. He doesn't feel like he's got to break back on balls. So he can get really good jumps coming in and the line drives coming in, and also just the big swings where guys, maybe hit the ball at the end of the bat. You don't see him flying back to come forward because he plays a little bit deeper and knows that he can kind of close on those balls when he needs to.
You're officially now halfway through the conference race. You played 24 games. You've now played 12. In a 4-way tie for 4th place right now, you entered the weekend in first. Where is it? Is the goal still to try to? I mean, you still have a shot to win this league. Everything's still kind of there for you and the team.
Oh yeah. We're certainly that's our goal number one is to win the league, and half the season left, like you said, with conference play, and it's always going to come down to the last 2 weeks, really. So we got to take care of business, get back on the winning side of the weekends. I mean, tell our team that all the time. I mean, now we probably need to go steal a game. We swept a series, which is great. Now you've lost 3 and got swept in a series on the road. So now we maybe have to steal one in there somewhere. But if you keep winning series, you're going to look up. I mean, 17 or 18 wins is typically won the league. So that's kind of been that magic number. And I mean, we've seen it. I mean, you go into that last weekend. I mean, there's the line between 2nd and 6th place is very, very tight. So you win series and you got a chance.
Well, it gets going again this weekend with Minnesota, but 2 games before that, Omaha tomorrow night up at Anderson Field, and then you're back home to play South Dakota State. I know putting together the schedule can be challenging and tough. 2 midweek games this time of year is a little rare to have 2 midweek games.
It is, and it's just kind of the way the schedule fell. Just trying to get as many. We only had 55 on the schedule as it is, and 56 is allowed. So it's not ideal necessarily, but hey, it may give some guys an opportunity just to step up, especially on the mound. And been talking about needing a couple of guys, and especially come the end of the season, you're going to need every guy that you can possibly get on the mound. And so maybe give some guys an opportunity to step up.
Where is the staff this time of year in recruiting? I mean, obviously you're so busy coaching games and doing games. What happens right now with the staff as it portrays to recruiting?
So a lot of junior college stuff going on right now. Having some junior college guys on campus. Also just going and watching some junior college games. Nebraska high school baseball is going on, so we're watching some of our guys. Also, looking for future prospects as well. So, that's all part of it. Looking to bolster the roster every year. That the spring is kind of the time for the junior college player because you don't necessarily commit a ton of those guys in the fall because you really want to see them go perform in the spring. And the way that the portal is now too, JUCO guys, there's a lot more available. You just have to really tap in. And like I said, we have so many resources with our staff because each and every one of us either played or coached in junior college. So we have connections coast to coast, in those leagues. So a lot of that going on right now. Obviously, the portal will start heating up here in about a month. So that'll be a big part of it too. But yeah, there are a lot of still is completely ongoing, never stops. We do have that dead period, I guess, where it does technically stop, where we can't go watch games, but that's going on during the season.
Last year, you hit the portal fairly hard, and it's worked out really well. Like Casey Burnham, the answer to our trivia question was a portal addition. Jace Kaminska, one of your weekend starters, was a portal addition. Charlie Fisher. What's your kind of philosophy about how many guys you want to try to get, or do you save certain spots for that many guys?
Yeah, it's just a totally different landscape now in college athletics. I mean, speaking of, seeing Colorado football, there's 15 guys in the. I think it's just part of college athletics now, and it's a little bit more of a business than it ever has been for both parents, players, coaches. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. So you never are really going to get caught off guard now on your own roster or guys. I mean, there's guys that are starters everywhere, all over the country that are entering their name in the portal, and that's kind of the way that it is now in college sports, and got to adapt to it. So I think you don't necessarily hold a bunch of scholarships back for portal guys. You just kind of know, hey, like we're going to have some guys that get drafted, on this team. There may be guys that are out there that you have no idea that are going to be out there at some point in time. So you can't necessarily say, well, we're going to hold back for this because you just don't know what's going to be there. So philosophy there is anybody that can help our roster and is a good fit culturally for us and personality-wise for us, which all these guys that we added have been, we're all ears with that.
Well, and the portal works both ways, and it affected you last year. You got some guys that opted to go in the portal, so maybe you don't even need to save roster spot because it's going to happen on its own. Yeah,
like I said, it's a different animal now than it even was 2 or 3 years ago. So it's a lot more business oriented, and the least you can keep the more you can keep your feelings out of it, and just understand that, hey, sometimes it's mutually beneficial for a player, coach, no hard feelings. That's just the way that it is now.
Some programs, though, Coach, really don't want to dabble with it. They don't want to mess with it. They just want to build it their way, the way they've always done it. And if somebody leaves, they'll go try to find a junior college player or a high school player that isn't in somebody's roster at that point in time. But you're okay and open to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just the way of the world now. So yeah, it's got to check the boxes for us, but it's part of. I think it's a bigger piece of the puzzle now than it ever has been.
Yeah. Well, Dorothy Lynch, Homestyle, light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities. 402-413-2400. That's the number to call us up with a comment or question, or you can fire off a text. We've got one more segment with the coach. We'll get to that next.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
That's my neighbor, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a very big mistake. Hey, Joe, you think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have your underground utilities marked before you start digging?
John, that's just for big projects.
Actually, it's for any digging project. Hey, congratulations, Joe. You found your electric line. Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811. You want to borrow my phone, buddy?
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight and counting. Made for performance and capability. Made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe back with the head coach, Will Bolt. A few minutes left in our program. Got a couple of texts for you, but I wanted to follow up. We were talking about recruiting in the portal. You signed a class back in November. How many of those high school players will play summer ball, or do you want them on campus right away? What's your strategy with that group?
Yeah, so kind of looking at that, that's a great question, actually, because it is different now. Honestly, we have a little bit different philosophy maybe than 2 or 3 years ago, where those freshmen, especially position guys, they really need to be ready when they show up. And so we like to send those incoming hitters off to play summer ball against college players. So they'll go
did that with Dylan Carey.
Like Carey did. Hayden Lewis did the same thing. He played in a college summer league. So that's kind of our philosophy now on those guys, because those guys need to be ready-made when they show up, and they need to be able to face that pitching before they show up. So some of those guys can go play half of a summer season and then come to Summer Bridge, which is the opportunity for them to get their feet wet with some summer school and get acclimated to campus life. Pitchers is going to be a little bit different story. It's going to depend on how much they throw in their high school season. So most of those guys are leaned on pretty heavily for their high school team. So I would say typically those guys would come in and come to Summer Bridge, get acclimated in July, and go from there.
Very good. Text question about Shea Shanneman. Have you thought about putting him back as a starter?
Certainly thought about it, yeah, especially when we were kind of really searching for a Sunday starter. And maybe that is an answer at some point in time. I think that I still feel the way that we felt going into this season about Shea is that he can impact multiple games a week. And he's done that for us. He's impacted multiple games a week. So, I mean, you're talking a Tuesday game, a Friday game, a Sunday game, versus if he's just starting. Granted, Sunday's a pretty important day, but never say never. I mean, I think it's certainly a good idea. It's something that we've talked about as a staff. But right now I think he's still just in that mode of, hey, if we can get him to come close the game on Friday and come back on Sunday, he helps us win 2 games there on the weekend. So everything's up for discussion, but I think, right now where he's at, I think is a good spot for him.
Very good. First Interstate Bank, built for you. Learn more at www.firstinterstatebank.com, member FDIC. Let's head back to the phones. We'll go over to Iowa and Steve. Good evening, Steve. You're up with Coach Bolt. Steve, you there? Yep. Steve dropped off our lines. All right, so Omaha tomorrow night. The Mavericks, they've been a thorn in our side. Got to go get these guys tomorrow night.
Yeah, go up to their place and play, and yeah, we need to come out, and like I said, we got a bounce back opportunity this week. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've got 5 games here, awesome opportunities for us to show that tough people last and tough times don't.
Tom and Hayes down in Kansas, text for you. We'll keep them boys fighting. Husker Nation, calm down. I remember being swept by Rutgers, the turning point, and then we turned the Jets on and won the Big Ten. It's a weird game behind you guys all the way. And that's kind of the right way to look at it. People forget that conference championship season, you had a really rough series with the Scarlet Knights.
We did, and that was a home series. It made it tough. But yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that text, and yeah, that's kind of how we have to operate, is just day to day, and just hey, understand that there's things that we need to correct and get better from last weekend. But the highs and lows of the season, I mean, you've got to really try to avoid riding that wave and just try to show up and compete. And this team, again, I still don't think we've peaked. I think we've had some really, really good moments with this group. A week ago we were in first place. I mean, that's how fickle this game of baseball can be, how crazy a game it is. The ball can bounce one way, and you're looking like you played a great game, and it can bounce another way, and it looks like you played a terrible game. So part of it, understand. We're frustrated at how the weekend went, but we got to be tough-minded and bounce back from it.
Today an off day for the guys? Are they around at all today?
Yeah, Mondays are always off. That's just the way it goes. You play a hard-fought series on the weekend. Monday's an academic day for them to kind of get everything back in order, especially after a road trip. Certainly they hit on their own. A lot of the guys played catch, but we have to take one off day a week, and Monday's that day.
Very good. All right. 5 games, hope the pitching and maybe a chance for some guys to pitch that haven't thrown a whole lot. Jalen Worthley's a guy that I know you don't mind putting out there on the mound. Somebody like him. Yeah,
Jalen was in the pen, I think, a couple different times getting loose over the weekend. So love Jay. He's a big game pitcher in high school. State player of the year. I mean, he's been in some big moments for us already, and I have a feeling he'll be in the middle of a lot of big moments for us down the stretch.
Mason Ornelas is a guy that we had a question, I think, last week on the program about him. There's a guy that we've not seen throw for a little while.
Yeah, and I think maybe since that question, he had a good live outing on Wednesday, which was good to see him do that. And, he's got to be a strike thrower. He's not going to overpower you with stuff, but he's got to have conviction and throw strikes. And he does have a strikeout pitch with that changeup, but he's got to be able to get to it, getting ahead in the count. So probably a guy we'll see at some point in the next 2 days. It'd be great to see Mason step up. Like I said last week, awesome kid, awesome teammate, stayed the course. His opportunity's coming, and it may be very soon.
And Drew Christo has strung together 2 or 3 pretty good outings for you.
Drew's had a nice little stretch here. So another very talented kid, amazing makeup, hard worker, great teammate. Really, really important pitcher for us down the stretch, potentially.
All right. I haven't even checked the forecast. We got rain Friday, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Looks like going to be still maybe a little chilly, maybe a little bit better on Saturday, but what is it, a home weekend without having to shovel some things around? So maybe we'll get lucky. The extended forecast maybe will change for us.
All right. We'll see you up in Omaha tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll bolt with this busy week. 5 games. Huskers will play Omaha tomorrow night at 7. South Dakota State comes to Haymarket on Wednesday at 6, and then the Gophers here for the weekend series in the Big Ten. Thanks to Cole for steering the ship with us tonight. Also time to tell you that our Sports Audio Hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. 18 brands, huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you're looking for with Woodhouse. Talk to you tomorrow night from Omaha. Good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Save time and shop online with Woodhouse. Easily discover your next vehicle while shopping for a new or new-to-you car, truck, or SUV. Woodhouse has something for everyone, offering 19 of the top name brands in new and an extensive pre-owned inventory. You're guaranteed to find that spacious, family-friendly SUV or that get any job done truck. So get started today at woodhouse.com.
Farmers can make what seems impossible reality with a little hard work and ingenuity. They find solutions to reduce inputs and improve their yield. Valley Irrigation is no different. As the leader in irrigation technology, we deliver results and optimize your operation. Because when you have a vision for the future, you need the people that can make it possible by your side. Expect what's next. Expect what's possible from Valley. Visit us at valleyirrigation.com.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. UNL is the only Big Ten university in Nebraska, part of the only conference with an academic alliance. Being in the Big Ten means superior academics, unique student opportunities, better resources, and world-class research programs. With 72% of undergraduate students